This is a pretty like this is what we do here every day in and day out. What you see is what you get. So thank you. I appreciate the compliment. All right, S&P futures. I'm afraid to even look. S&P futures up 63 and three quarter handles. Nasdaq up 194 and a half, 16,770. The dollar got slapped around most of the day. You can see here the sell setup off the daily 21. Next up 102.46, perhaps. We'll have to see. Bitcoin higher 42,790. Nice bounce in Bitcoin today off that daily 21. Crude also nice bounce. A little bit of a piercing engulfing reversal through the key pivot there. The 69 and a quarter pivot. Massive bounce in gold. I was looking for this potential bounce here. Our AGI swing long. You can see the buy setup triggered. Got us comfortably back above break even in profit, so that's good. Uh, so let's take a look at the market by the numbers. The Dow Jones up 1.4%, S&P 500 up 1.37%, Nasdaq up 1.38%, gold up two and a quarter, almost over 2.25%, 2039.70. WTI crude settles 69.81, well off the 69 and a quarter handle. The VIX higher, 12 and a quarter. Bitcoin just continuing higher. At the time of the cash close, 43,090. So I'm going to go over the headlines, and then I guess we'll talk about what Powell didn't say. So we have Fed projections implying a 75 basis point rate cut in 2024. That dot plot was far more dovish than expected. And I don't know if you guys remember, but as I mentioned into the event, this isn't about what Powell is going to say necessarily. It's about what the dot plot is going to say. And that's what we got. We got a dot plot surprise off the summary of economic projections. The FOMC's median 2024 PCE, core PCE, and forecast declined to 2.4%. Fed swaps now pricing in a higher rate cut odd in 2024. And we had Yellen coming out today saying sees consistent pattern of inflation coming down over time. Goldman, based on the details of the PPI and CPI reports, we estimate that core PCE price index rose to 0.07% in November, corresponding to a year-over-year rate of 3.24%. Twilio hired Catalyst to advise on defense against activist investor group. That was a CNBC report. And Nick Timiraos coming out basically saying, based on November CPI, PPI, headline PCE inflation likely declined last month. Core PCE inflation is projected to have been very mild, 0.06 in November. This could lower the 12-month core PCE index to 3.1%. The 6-month annualized rate would fall to 1.9% below the Fed's target. So we're seeing some of these comments certainly in line with the information we got from the FOMC today. In other news, Coinbase to offer spot crypto trading outside the U.S. and global expansion. Geopolitically today, U.S. Navy destroyer Mason shoots down Houthi drone launch from Yemen, according to a U.S. defense official. And on the Lilly front, Ken Langone saying, I think Lilly will be the first $1 trillion drug company in history. That's Lima Lima Yankee. So, wild stuff today. In unusual call activity, I have everything. No, all right. MTCH, the December 3250s, call activity honored by the offer expiring December 15th. GSM, the January 6 calls expiring January 19th. And then we've got UPST just soaring today, the December 42 calls, Square, the December 70 calls. SWN, the January 7 calls. And VIX, the April 60 calls. And unusual puts today, Lucid, the January 25 3 puts. And MPW, the January 4th puts. Sorry, the January $4 puts. Excuse me. So that's the long and short of it. So, this is the next leg higher in the market. As you can see, we didn't have a clean break off this reaccumulation, right? We came into the anchor, popped, turnaround bar, inside bar, false breakout, turnaround bar, and then we finally, on December 8th, saw that higher high, and we've been kind of grinding up, and today was that that final truly igniting bar. So what this chart is telling me is, we broke the value area high from July. We broke the pivot high from July here at 47.34. We'll go to the SPX in a minute. There's a reason I'm on this chart. So your next, if you're looking at this channel, I know this sounds cuckoo for Cocoa Puffs. I understand. Around 49.25, something like that, 49.10 to 49.25. This is the market's next target. How could that be, JR? How is that possible? I don't know. I just work here. Don't shoot the messenger, please. You're so crazy. You are so crazy, man. You'll never get there. Maybe, maybe not, but that is the technical target. It is well times at Richmond High. I don't know what else to say. This is it's hard for people to accept that we may be going to all-time highs. SPX will show you pretty much the same thing here, right? So on the SPX, upper end of the channels around 48.96. All-time highs is here. Let me just draw this line here so you guys have it. So I was looking at the ES before. This is the SPX. So 48.06, and then like somewhere, depending on our angle of ascent, obviously, right? Somewhere around the 49.50s and 49.80s. This general area. So it's nuts, it really is crazy, but it is, it is what it is. I'm not going to doubt what the charts are saying. So anyways, wild stuff. Let's look at the IWM first. Dive in here. So the IWM, we were looking for the move to 192, this red line right here. And we got it today, so we finally got our outside bar reversal through to 191, 192.11. We got 193.50. That's fantastic. Did the Dow make a new all-time high today? I think so, right? Oh my god. Okay, all right. Is it me, or that does everything just look silly? I mean, look at this cup and handle. I mean, look at the SMH. I mean, just do not look away. Do not look away. Total insanity. For a lot of bears in this market, especially a lot of fundamental traders, this is hard to swallow. The market's going higher, folks. Just you'll be better off if you accept it, in my opinion. A lot of people are having a very difficult move for some reason, accepting what's happening. It's happening. All right. So yeah, don't chase it, man. Don't chase. All right. What Eddie said. Okay. So um, so we had Powell today. Um, you know, we had the statement was a little changed from the last go around. I thought it was a little bit more dovish. Um, the key section of forward guidance related to additional policy firming had the word any inserted. That people were reading into that. There's this sort of um, there's the Talmud, right? And then there's the FOMC Talmud, where every word is scrutinized by the rabbinic authorities of the stock market, with Nick Timiraos and Steve Leisman as chief rabbis, and he was scrutinized over the any comment as though he was leaving a door open. Uh, you know, ultimately, uh, the median 2024 dot came down some 75 basis points today, and Powell really managed not to say anything hawkish. So I think that's the bottom line. He also acknowledged that they're already talking about when it will be appropriate to cut rates, right? Remember in 2021, they said that we're not ready to talk about raising rates. So it looks like they're ready to talk about cutting rates. Uh, so I thought this was significantly more dovish, and given the dot plot, I was expecting him to completely disown it, say that the dog ate my dot plot, I don't believe it, and just come out in full kabuki theater form, and he did quite the opposite. So um, it's almost like Powell capitulated to the market today. So yeah, I think we're going higher. The U.S. 2-year dropped below 2.5, and the 10-year yield reached 4. So the Russell had a 3% surge. The KRE, I mean, just they spoke the bull with meth or Viagra. I mean, this is insane. Gold, as you can expect, a major move. The XLU. Look at this move in the utilities, right? All the sectors that are really interest rate sensitive just absolutely exploded today, which is not a surprise that the Russell, which has a lot of companies that are not cash flow positive and need constant financing to stay afloat, it's not really a surprise that the IWM just exploded higher. So great stuff today. It was interesting to see weakness into Friday's quad witch, and with the S&P rebalancing, that so many of the Nasdaq generals, Microsoft, Google, Nvidia seem to just fall apart. They're into the close, not really moving with the market. I mean, I guess it's not super surprising. So overall, really good stuff. I started the day trading very light because I knew we were going to have most likely amazing opportunities after 2. I took Apple and Amazon long. I'm holding these. So Apple took it pretty much right off the open. And did we tag all-time highs? I don't think we did, right? Almost. Your all-time intraday high in Apple is, what is it, 190? Did we tag intraday? 198.23. Yeah, that's what I have. So very close. Holding this Apple long. And Amazon, I bought it off the open and held it because I really thought we'd already breached the declining line, and I just wanted to give this one room. So I thought we were going to get a strong move after the FOMC, and we did in fact do that. So Still looking for 152.50 on this one. Apple $200. That's right, I said it. $200 on Apple. Um, yeah, they're just gonna want to take it there for the aesthetic purpose. Have you guys noticed that when you're in the 90s in a stock, it usually goes to the next whole number. 98s always go to 100. 198s always go to 200, etc. So I'm guessing it's very likely that Apple goes to 200. So we'll probably take it off then. Uh, bought Tesla right off the open as well for the bounce off the anchor here. Wait, today 13th. Sorry, right there. Into the closing pivot, so that went well. And then when it broke down, I shorted it with Kelly, I believe. And then I missed this breakdown, and I got short later, 231, 31.30, I think, and wrote this leg down. We then proceeded to take Tesla along here for the move back into the VWAP. So we rode this bad boy all the way here. When we got the FOMC, I bought Tesla long. I had buy stops in spiders and Qs, and those triggered as well. That went great. And we rode this bad boy up into 215, 220. I started exiting when Powell was speaking. So Tesla, I exited here. I tried the short. I got stopped out, and then when Powell started talking and we cracked the prior highs, I went long Tesla again. Sold spiders into 468.97. No, sorry, 466.59. Yeah, 46.59, and then got back on. I wasn't trading S&P, so I didn't have my platform open. I didn't trade the Qs after that. So Qs I took to 401.69. So still really nice moves. I really can't complain. It was really good stuff there in the triple Qs. On the pullback, we called a really nice pullback in the S&Ps right at the top, and basically we called out the 618 retracement V bottom reversal on the 2 and the 5 minute. I took Tesla right here, and away she went. Another one we took this morning was Unity, which was really doing great into R2. It took a bunch off here, and then I trailed out. I think 33.60, something like that, or 33.80. I can't remember, but look at the move afterwards. And of course, all these rate-sensitive fintechs, UPST, AFRM, PayPal, just gnarly moves. So really, really good stuff there. And yeah, John, you can email jrt3live.com. If you go to the moderator note, sorry, the file section, there's a template for how to send in your trades. Okay. I used to fight price and fundamental news a lot. I still do sometimes. For newer traders, it's hard to clarify the uncertainty and separate impulse from intuition because it takes experience. Yeah, I couldn't have said it better myself. Brian. It takes a long time, man. The more you fight it, try to force yourself to buy and sell things when you're not ready, the more misery you'll experience as a trader, because you're just not sure. You lack the conviction. So I agree completely, right? Yeah, coin is a mover today for sure. Obviously Bitcoin very interest rate sensitive as well. If you're gonna borrow money to gamble, might as well be cheap, right? So yeah, 152 in the post market. My goodness. You sold a kidney to be here? Ouch. I hope you're okay, Truett. Thoughts on Bitcoin? Yeah, Bitcoin. I have the same target I've had for a while, which is here's our daily. Back in May and July, we started this measured move here to 39.6, and then 49.668. So we hit our first target. There's a second right there. On yeah, that is dedication. No kidding, Amber. So let's take a look here and see if we have some emails from our esteemed subscribers. Dear Abby. Oh, wow. We have another Andrew email. Let's take a look here. What did Andrew write? Okay, let's. Turn down for what? Turn down for what? That is Andrew's walk-on music. Let's take a look here. What does my ponytailed friend have to say? Really happy you crushed it today, man. It's awesome energy to be around. We're reviewing Momentum Mastery, and I have a question. Andrew has a study group. You are so dedicated, bro. And I have a question about energy effort that begin fast and slow schematics. Especially, do we always need a lot of effort to start them? You need a lot of result to start them, not effort. Okay? So, let's take a look here. We're talking, of course, about the key Wyckoff fundamentals of effort versus result. Are these all potential V-bottoms, blue line? Yeah, of course. They are all potential V-bottoms. You don't know when you hit that first V what it's going to be, right? Which is why the V-bottom is so tricky to play unless you enter it early off of a key level. Do all these slow schematics need significant effort to start, or do you no, so they're created by a strong result, right? What you want to see is price hold here, right? The reaction is the effort, right? So for example, and that's measured typically in volume. So for example, if your volume looks like climactic here, then and then slow, 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 and on the wedge break you have a tremendous amount of effort, and it unable to break the prior pivot, right? You have what do we call that? Effort, volume price divergence, right? That is a key measure of effort that tells you we're not ready to break out of the schematic. Does that make sense, Andrew? So let's see, here's the other. Are these all potential V-bottoms? Yes, they're all potential V-bottoms. Is that what makes this a fast schematic? Yes. These are fast bottoming schematics, correct. So your IPH bottom, your IPL bottom, affectionately known by many traders as Quasimodos, right? Because you got a hump. So you got your outside and your inside Quasimodo. Yep. I'm glad you're thinking about these things. All right, what else did you send? I didn't hear no bell. What? Oh, is he a boxer? Okay. That's funny. Hashtag protect yourself at all times. Okay. So I hope that answers your question, Andrew. I'm also going to make a suggestion for you. I find it admirable that you that through the practice of physical penitence and castigation, you pump out those hundreds of push-ups every time you make a mistake. I would suggest another approach. I just want you to replay the day. No, burpees. No, stop. This isn't the Marines. Okay, you want to do burpees? Go to Gator. All right, he'll give you some complimentary crayons. Every trade you mess up on, I just want you to replay it. You know, DOS, TradingView, whatever it is, just retrade it. See what you did wrong, and fix it. All right, go to the time machine. Stop freaking doing push-ups. That's not gonna make you a better trader. All right, just that's just my Jewish mother coming out. All right. Anyways, also if you do, make sure you stretch. All right. All right. So that's Andrew's email on the day. Very nice. Very nice. Edge guy, as you had mentioned for a few times today, confluence. Please summarize confluence. So that means that you know um, when you have an overlapping set of variables in the market, all kind of overlapping in the same place. So say for example you have a floor trader pivot, right? So let me use different colors here. So say for example, let's go to Tesla. It doesn't matter. So say for example in Tesla, right? You have an anchored VWAP, a power pivot, a rising 21, maybe a rising 200 with the 21 if it's very tight, right? And you have all this confluence of technical variables kind of making your case as a bull or a bear stronger. I tend to give those a higher weighting in the whole risk reward probability scenario, right? I tend to assign those. If I'm looking for a bounce, for example, I tend to assign a higher probability of a bounce. Stretch before we're playing a trade. Color crayon. No, he does push-ups. He goes like full. Remember that? You guys remember Gilad, the Israeli fitness guru? He used to like work out in front of some camels. Does anyone remember Gilad? You know what I mean? He's like an 80s fitness guru. This guy. What's his name? Gilad? Yeah. It was called Bodies in Motion. This guy. He used to like go hardcore into the calisthenics and stuff from the 80s. And he used to work out in Israel in front of some camels. Anyways, Andrew, you don't have to go full Gilad. I mean, you can if you want. Look, if that's your thing, you know, if you're into physical penitence and whatever, I don't want any dislocated shoulders on my account. You know what I mean, bro? Like Jr. gave me tendonitis. Like, no, like let's just put that aside. All right. I've been in Momentum Express for 3.5 weeks. I think I need to contact an elbow doctor. No, like if you're gonna spend time and energy, just replay your day, dude. Figure out what you did wrong and fix it. All right. That's my word of advice. Again, not trading, investing, yoga, or barbecuing advice. Just saying, I think that may be a more productive use of your time. All right, so that is Andrew's email. Thank you for asking. Was it Deepak wanted to know about Evel Knievel. So typically, when you have a climactic sell-off and you put in a faster slow schematic, let's call this an A1 wedge reversal, right? So you're coming off of phase 4 markdown, right? It's climactic selling. In terms of the price cycle, you know, you have A, B, C, D, whatever. This is your typical accumulation schematic. Typically, on your first pop, right? Your mid your middle moving average, you know, not your fast, not your slow, is going to be the 21, right? So you're going to have I'm going to make the 21 purple, okay? So you're going to have your 21 come in like this, and as you pop, right, you're going to have a rising 21. So the first pullback So you have a two-wave corrective. The first pullback, when it shakes out through the 21, what you want to see here, okay, is seller exhaustion into the rising moving average. That'll typically indicate that the auction has moved higher, okay, and that this pivot now marks a place where sellers are no longer willing to auction any lower here. So that's typically called, in terms of order flow, that's seller exhaustion, and then typically you set a buy stop above that shakeout bar, and up and away you go. So I'm sure if we bring up the 2-minute in Tesla today, we can readily find an example for you. Let's look at the 2-minute. Let's go to the 5. So this shakeout bar technically went through the 8, but if you had a rising 21 here, this would have been your Evel Knievel. This one came into the 21. There's your Evel Knievel. We took this one, right? Today, yeah. So there it is. So that's an Evel Knievel. How can you be confident it is a phase 4, or in any case, any other phase? Confident? So, contrary to popular belief, Rick, I do not, in fact, possess a crystal ball. What I do work with is a constant 3-dimensional matrix of risk, reward, and probability. Okay? When you're in a markdown, okay, when you're in a markdown, you never really know. You never really know what's truly happening, right? Like you have no idea whether this is an exercise we do with our traders. What animal is this, Rick? What do you see? What do you see here? A rabbit. Anybody else? A rabbit, a rabbit, a rabbit. Okay. Anybody else see anything else? Aflac. Yeah, this is also could be interpreted as a duck, right? Here's the duck beak. Here's the eyes of the duck, right? What makes a market? What makes a market is dueling perceptions of reality of the auction, right? So, for example, when you have a strong move lower, right, at Tesla into S3 today, right, you're going to have, are some shorts going to be thinking, okay, leg 1, leg 2, they're going to basically ignore the fact that you don't have any leg symmetry here, right, that you have climactic volume. They're going to ignore all that, and probably because they're FOMO'd out, and they're going to say, okay, there's a bear flag, all right, let's just short it here off the 8 so we can get our leg 3, right? So some traders are seeing the rabbit, some are seeing the hare. Today somebody said, JR, why are you buying a rising wedge off the 5 when we're clearly in a rising wedge? Well, as I explained when I explained it, I said because I expect channel widening here and a move potentially to VWAP, right? So the market is replete with scenarios, especially in key inflection points, levels of high potential demand, where there's going to be a strong disagreement between bulls and bears, and that's really what creates a market, right? So what I work with is risk, reward, probability. So when I see certain things that lead me to believe that we're very likely going to be, in this case, for example, going higher and failing the sell setup here, right? I will lend one view of the move higher higher credence than the other based on probability, right? So you never know, right? Say for example you're in a consolidation here, right? And this happens, right? What are the potential scenarios here? What could be happening? Yeah, I use that as an example all the time, Gigi, because it really helps illustrate the point. What could be happening here? Okay, it could be a spring. Could it be the breakdown of a redistributive structure like a bear flag? Yeah, absolutely, right? We could be doing this or we could be doing this, right? While this is happening, you don't know if it's a bull trap or a bear trap, right? Now you can use certain information to to make a more educated decision. For example, would uh, oscillator divergence be a factor to look at in a range bound value area in a downtrend? Would that be important? I would say so, right? Would volume traded in the value area be something we look at as an odds enhancer? Yeah, for sure. How about prevailing trend? Would that be something that gives us an edge? Yeah, 100%, right? So there's a lot of things we look at. Ultimately, you never know, Rick. Right? That's why you have to be willing to take losses in the market that are manageable, so that when you're wrong, you don't really end up losing big in the long run. I only saw a duck till you mentioned a rabbit. Right. Exactly, Deepak. How many times does it happen that, you guys are looking at one thing one way and I'm looking at another thing another way, and until I mention it or somebody else mentions it, you go, "Oh my God, yeah, no, I see that now." Like sometimes I'll draw a 10 trend line, you guys be like, "Wow, I didn't even see, whatever trend line that was." So the market is full of these the market is full of these situations where the people who fully perceive supply demand imbalances tend to outsmart the competition, right? You have to understand what other people are thinking, and then you have to ultimately be able to outsmart them in some way. If you see a tweezer, at what bar do you enter the trade? It depends, Rich. It depends. If I have a very good reason to buy the bottom, I'll buy maybe a quarter or a half tier right at the tweezer. If I need some confirmation, right, then for example, say for example, I have a V top on the day, right, and then uh, an initial uh, an initial two-wave corrective, right, and we come in and on 2-minute bars we kind of do a double bottom here, and I know that uh, this is a very strong level of support, and I exploded out of this level. I exploded out of this level. We came back in on very low volume, and we initially exploded out of this level. As soon as I see the tweezer here, sometimes I'll start to scale in slowly, right? Ultimately, it depends. Sometimes you'll see a tweezer, right? Uh, Sometimes you'll see a tweezer bottom, right? Like something like that, right? Um, if it's shallow, like for example, if you have two small little hammers, right? I'll take the top of the tweezer with a stop underneath. But sometimes your tweezers are giant turnaround bars, right? So on a giant turnaround bar, I may not want to set a $1.20 stop to buy this over the top, right? So if I'm trading the 5, maybe I'll go to the 2 and find a pivot I can work off of, or maybe I'll just let this go and then buy the pullback. But the tweezer was my initial signal that we were probably done going lower. It just really depends. Again, Momentum Mastery now available on Amberzon has all the different scenarios I look for. How do you determine what is a buyable pullback? Oh boy. How do you determine what is a buyable pullback? So I can generalize. There's a lot to buyable pullbacks. So the first would be, okay, you know, where are we in the price cycle, right? For example, are we in maybe leg one of two within an uptrend, right? So that would be the price cycle probably being the most important thing. Two, order flow. Do we have strong order flow to the upside and light order flow on the retracement? Three, how far away are we from the moving averages? Are we, riding the A train on the 8 and the 21, or are the moving averages, do I have a wide divergence from the moving averages, right? The further you are from the moving averages, the more uh, buyers are going to be emboldened to sell, and sellers are going to be emboldened to sell. So basically, everyone. Uh, volume. Do we have a crescendo of volume into the pivot, and then even more volume in the selling, right? Or do we have price volume divergence, price volume convergence on the pullback? Meaning, as price comes in lower, does volume also retreat on the pullback, right? That tends to show you signs of digestion with absorption rather than liquidation, right? So these are terms we talk about extensively. So that's what pullbacks are, right? You're digesting a move, and as you digest it, it becomes absorbed with new money longs or people adding to the trade, and that's why you tend to get lower volume. People aren't so interested in um, selling to open. Maybe they're managing trades, maybe they're taking a little profit, but the fact that you have low volume means there's fewer interested sellers, right? People would be, uh, you know, typically less interested in selling a stock that's trending and moving strongly if they, in fact, thought that it was going to go higher. So there's four solid things we look at. Again, there's a lot to pullbacks and trading them properly, but those are, if you just follow those four things, just send me a yearly commissions check and I think you'll be fine. Once again, no sound, reloaded, logged out. Redler's room has no issue. Redler's room has no issue. What are you trying to say, bro? What are you insinuating, my mic? I'm sorry. Uh, that's terrible. Does anyone know what browser my mic is using? If he's using Edge, he's going to have issues. Yeah, he's got to use Chrome. Let me run him. Oh no. I'm sorry you're having issues with my mic. In the panoply of places that are support and resistance, where do moving averages fit, generally speaking? Um, well, the moving average is a lagging indicator of price at time, right? So they tend to work like rubber bands until they stop working, right? So that's the problem with moving averages. Uh, so I could talk about moving averages till I'm blue in the face, but they tend to a moving average will tend to reinforce the trend and give you guidelines, you know, for when you're going to have a trend change. Right? There's a lot of dudes in this room. I'm talking about novice traders who will they'll be trading like a 5-minute chart, right? They're absolutely sure for some reason. Let's say, for example, um, you know, Tesla, even though it's over the 21 here, it has to come in. So they'll short it here when it's going to clear uptrend, right? And so they'll short it right into the 21, and then they'll get these pops, right? So like it's uh, it's a general guideline for managing trends and figuring out where price is most likely to retrace to, and when the issue at hand is actively bought, then the moving average reinforces the trend. That's all it is. It's not a particularly ultra reliable method of finding support. So, good question. Um, any other guys? Any other thoughts, guys, or questions? I'm glad to do any Q&A you guys want to do. Was hoping to catch PM sessions. Yes. I'm sorry you can't hear us. Uh, my mic is a member of our room. I think he's on sabbatical. Do you see money rotating to a specific sector in the near future? Well, now that rates are coming in, I think fintech is going to be hot. Utilities are going to be hot. Regional banks, gold, um, all the interest sensitive sectors. I think are going to be uh, very much rotated into yeah, silver. So, well, and you can see from the charts that money was pouring in, right? But I see, yeah, Russell for sure. But I see a broad-based rally coming into the end of the year. So it looks really good to me. It looks phenomenal. Bad news always ham my trading. I always think bad news makes stocks go down. Yeah, sometimes it does, sometimes it doesn't. You have to read the charts, right? What is good indication that helps with not moving stops too early? Um, it depends on your strategy, John, and what you're trying to achieve in the market. Typically, when I enter a trade, I have a very clear uh, stop entry, stop and target, right? So, you know, case in point today on Tesla, right? We were looking to sell into the VWAP bands, so went long here, sold some here into the what is it, 231.40s and the 60s, and then into VWAP, and then we had the FOMC. Um, so um, having a very clear idea of where the trade is supposed to go helps me not prematurely move my stop. Now, once prior resistance starts to become support, like right here, right, I'll typically move my stop to that pivot, because if that breaks, then it means there's been either a trend change, a sentiment trade, but I no longer have that floor of buyers bidding up my risk, right? So that is typically how I approach stops and profit taking. And I hope that makes sense. I'm still learning that my stops are too close to my entry. Yeah, so I typically set my stops at the place where it's clear that the trade no longer is working, right? So if X stock crosses this level, it means the pattern is broken. That's typically where my stop is, and I'll size according to that risk. So if it's a 40-cent risk, and my max risk on the day is $800, and it'll be whatever 2,000 shares, right? Do you use RSI with your chart setups? I look at RSI. Uh, I don't. It's not part of any strategy. RSI stochastics. Uh, uh, they're all very similar. I don't really obsess over it. I just want to know, do we have divergences in any of those oscillators? That's the most important thing to me. If we reach a climactic selling type of situation, and we're flagging, and I bear flagging, and I see RSI start to diverge and go higher with volume lower, then I know that I'm like very likely looking at a reversal. So that's typically how I look at RSI or stochastics, but I'm not really married to any one of those oscillators. They're all the same thing to me. I'm a scalper, and I got stopped out at 22 points on NQ. We got within 5 points of my break even after. I'm sorry, John, that's very annoying. Do you take trades from the 5 minute chart? Yeah, 99% of my, or 90% of my trades are usually on the 5 minute one. In the morning, I'll use it too as well. What would be wrong with going long on a rising wedge? Nothing per se necessarily, except that as you reach the apex of a wedge, if you're doing so on, say, for example, low volume and divergent, maybe divergent RSI or whatever, it's very likely that that wedge is going to perhaps break to the downside, Allison. So, but that depends on whether you're coming in from a prevailing downtrend. But yeah, I pay attention to that, but I don't necessarily. It just depends. And I wish I had a more formulaic answer for you, but it just depends. You know what I mean? Did you just say you trade the 5 minute most of the time? Yeah. I mean, I always look at the 2 minute, Rich. But my trading decisions are usually done on the 5. So, for example, people always say look at the larger time frame. That's true, but if you're watching price action, if you go to like the 1 minute, for example, you can actually see the anatomy of price action in much more like kind of zoomed in detail. So I don't have the 1 minute on. Actually, I do have the 1 minute on. So I have the 1, the 2, and the 5, but my trading decisions are typically done on the 5 minutes. So for example, Tesla at noon, right? You see this Tesla at noon here? So I entered on the 5, but I was watching the 2 minute too, right? So this is the 2 minute right there, and if I was watching the 1 minute, it would be kind of similar as well. But there's times where if I'm front running a trade, which I did a lot today, right? I'll be front running maybe a 2 minute entry and adding full tier on a 5 minute. It just depends on the particular setup. Yeah. Did you just say you trade? Okay, so yeah. I hope that makes sense. What an exciting announcement, huh? That was really wild. Yeah, I mean, I don't really trade the 1 minute. I'll start scaling into a trade off a 2 minute chart, but the true confirmation for me is usually on the 5 minute, the 15 minute, the hourly. You know what I mean? So the lower time frames are good for maybe scaling in a little bit, getting a feeler position on, etc., etc. Yeah. So that's my approach there. Yeah, good times. You guys enjoying the open house? Awesome, awesome. We've got 2 days left. Tomorrow is going to be another chock full of data kind of day. We have, I think we have jobless claims in the morning. Yeah. So in the morning at 8:30 we got jobless claims and retail sales, import-export prices, business inventories, a nat gas report, a 5-year TIPS announcement, and a 4-week bill auction. So chock full of fun. Also, if you haven't shorted Intel in a while and you're feeling a little noshy for an Intel short, Intel is having their AI Everywhere, or as I like to call it, AI Nowhere event. It's their launch event tomorrow. I think they're going to sell the living snot out of this thing. I mean, AMD had their event, and we shorted that, pounded that into the dust. So that is a nice catalyst for us to be watching tomorrow. Let's see what other things we've got going on. So we've got the AI Everywhere launch, aka the AI Nowhere launch. Talk about missing the boat, by the way. You're the leader in microchip technology for the past 30 years, and you could see AI coming from 1,000 miles away, and you failed to take the baton. I mean, they just pulled a Nokia on the biggest chip revolution in the last 30 years. It's just wild. We had Adobe after the close. We got Costco and Lennar tomorrow. Let's see what other catalysts we have for tomorrow. So we've got Chewy Investor event. Yeah. So yeah, 10 a.m. is the Intel event. I'll be watching it. I'll be listening in on the stream. SMCI. What's up, John? SMCI. This is a cause set in motion. It's building a big cause on the daily chart. It's at all the moving the VWAP anchors and point of control. So it's just trading in very much in an area of equilibrium here, right? We want to trade this when equilibrium is lost, right? There's a worthwhile auction to be played. SMCI is nowhere. Meta and AMD both got a doji. It's more likely to go up tomorrow. I'm not sure. I think AMD had a. So let's look at AMD here. So AMD. So here's what I'll say about AMD. We caught this move here in AMD, and then we caught this day. Today I tried a little and it just didn't go. Tomorrow on the break of the prior highs, 139.95, 140, you could have another outside bar reversal day. So inside bar on the daily. So yeah, it could go, but I just don't know. I don't know if it's ready to go yet. Maybe you need a couple of inside days on AMD. It's not a big move. Adobe, I have some 580 puts. Wanted to know. I have no idea. I completely forgot they were reporting. I know somebody asked me during the market hours. Can't remember who it was about my thoughts on Adobe earnings. The only times I ever think about Adobe is when I'm in New Mexico. I don't know. I have no idea, man. I don't know. Sorry. Like technically, this is lower after hours, right? Yeah, significantly lower. Let's see if they can hold 615 tomorrow. Alright, they cracked it already. 594. I don't know, brother. They're under the 21. 595. Yeah, this 592.41 is sold. You know. So that's what I would be looking for there in Adobe. I don't really trade this one. Let's see. I don't have next expectations for Adobe. I'm not an analyst, bro. I have no idea. Guidance and revenue earnings. You got to talk to my buddy Kramer. I just look at a chart and tell you where I think it's going. I have no idea. I'm not a fundamental analyst, such guy. For that, Scott Redler is 3 doors on the left, and he's amazing. I'm not I'm a trader. I mean, I'm familiar with fundamentals of stocks I follow. Adobe's not one of them. Let's see. Here in the ash heap, Adobe, yeah. So, yeah. Any other thoughts or questions, guys? Say hello to say hello to my little friend. Yeah, for sure. I agree. Ultimately, I'm sure Adobe will go higher. Uh, you know, everyone cares about cloud revenue now, so maybe they disappointed on that or earnings per share guidance. I'm not sure. Uh, yeah. Any other? Yeah, I know. I see it, dude. I'm in it. I'm in Amazon and Apple. I bought some Oracle there. Uh, Banana Split talked me into it. That was her idea. If it doesn't work, I'm totally gonna blame her for it. Not just kidding. Google. Google. Yeah, it's in a range. It's doing absolutely nothing special. It's giving you the bat signal, basically. I mean, the bat signal, I guess, would be the more charitable interpretation. The middle finger would be the less charitable. I don't know. I honestly, this is not doing anything I want to be involved in. IWM next year, 50%. You think so? What was the book you're reading with your boy again? Oh, Blood and Thunder. It's amazing. It's the Kit Carson story. Uh, if you really want to read the history of how this country was settled and the just brutal, um, uh, yeah, it's Hampton Sides. Here's the book. Uh, it's a story of the American West, all the different factions of Native American Indians fighting each other, fighting the Europeans, making alliances, intermarrying, having kids together, having wars together. It is a wild ride. If you like good historical nonfiction, I highly recommend this book. Um, it's really, really amazing. I mean, there's some passages you might want to skip over because they're a little brutal, but just a wild story of the American West. I think it should be required reading in schools. Really good. This guy, Hampton Sides, is an amazing writer also. I'm a bit of a history nerd. Definitely worth reading, guys. I think he also wrote the book. Remember that movie with Benjamin Bratt about the POW camp rescue in the Philippines? So he wrote the historical account of that rescue. I can't remember. It was the Great Raid, I think it's called. Anyways, really good stuff. Anyways, guys, anything else? Any technical questions? Anything else you guys want to talk about in the milieu of trading? Let me know. All right. Well, open house attendees, thank you for hanging out. We'll be here for 2 more days with you guys. And if you have any common questions or anything else, just shoot me an email. CC Amber. Info T3 Live is hers. JR at T3 Live is mine. Of your 2 minute reversals, which is your favorite? Probably the turnaround bar reversal. I like the shooting star and the Evil Knievel a lot. They're all really good. They're all money makers, man. What times is this chat room open in the morning? I don't think I think we're like 7-Eleven. I think we're open 24/7. You might be kind of. You might have a lonely experience if you show up at 3 in the morning, but I think it's. Do we ever close, Amber? I think we leave the line on, right? Yeah. Yep, we're like 7-Eleven. What time? What times do I come in? So I'm on Pacific time. So usually I start looking at stuff around 4 a.m. my time. So 7 Eastern. Uh, but I'll usually go on the mic around 9. Um, great walkthrough today. Thanks for constant input. It was helpful and inspiring. No problem, Nantucketer. I saw G parts moving around midnight. Oh, charts. Yeah, I'm a night owl. Even though I wake up at 4 in the morning, I'll come in and if I have an idea, I'll look it up. And sometimes I forget my chart's still being shared. Eye opening and huge rush today. Eye opening. Nice. Well, I hope you get to join us, Deepak. This is a great room. We have some amazing traders here. It's the reason I stay. We got really, really good people. How do you build your watch list for the day? It's a great question, Bree. Um, so I trade. My stock universe is depending on the time. It's usually between 200 and 500 names, and I'll scan through them every day and look for sectors that are moving and individual sequence of names that are in a particular sequence or about to break out, and then based on individual catalysts, upgrades, downgrades, or general sentiment, I'll prioritize the names that are working the best, and that's typically how I'll do it. And I always make sure that I look at market structure, price cycle, and multiple time frames. Yeah, yeah. This community is the best one. I've been in a lot of trading rooms. This one's by far the best in terms of quality of people and traders. Really good stuff. Awesome, guys. Anything else we want to go over? That does. Yeah. Do you post your trades here anywhere? I don't. I talk about a trade idea. I talk about when I'm going to take it. Then I talk about when I take it, and then I give you guys my target stop, and I usually talk through the trade as it's happening. I don't have an assistant scribe to post stuff in the window. It's a very busy time in the morning, and I can't be like cutting and pasting into my alerts window. It's too much work. All right. Have a phenomenal afternoon and evening, guys. We'll be back tomorrow morning. Remember, we got jobless claims at 8:30. So if you're in positions, be aware that could move the market. And have a phenomenal rest of your day. Great day today. Take care, everyone. Hola. Yeah, I literally just finished my wrap-up meeting. What's going on? What? Good. It was a good day. What? Oh, sorry, you're just really muffly. We had an FOMC rate announcement, and the market just ripped higher. It was good. What are you up to? Okay. All right, I'll pick Natalie up at 3:30. Yeah, what's up? Okay. Are you talking about New York certification? Oh, did you ask her? Okay. Mm.